overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision's so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision's so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rising Tide Talks. It looks a little different today.
It does.
Yep. I'm Kylene Montgomery, and I inspire transformation with positive energy.
Are you going, Aaron? You want me to?
Go ahead, Becky. I can't remember the order or anything.
All confused on this evening here.
Yeah. Fun times tonight.
I'm Becky Kutzer, and I believe it takes a village to run a business.
Yeah. And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and we are here to inspire you to fall deeper in love with your business. It's been a challenging start here, to say the least. I think that the world is telling us, Becky, you should just do this on your own.
No, I don't think that's
No, sorry about that. No. We've had a little technical glitches. StreamYard is not playing so nicely tonight, so we're efforting. I think we figured it out long enough, hopefully. And StreamYard sent me a message the other day. Hey, we're gonna raise your prices, and then all of a sudden their service stopped working like it has. So good job. If anybody has any suggestions for an alternate streaming service, please let us know. We will be looking into that. But let's dive right into this. First off, can we here, you get one. You get one, I get one. Let's celebrate Becky really quick. She did a fantastic job carrying this show last week. I got to be in the comments a little bit before I had to run, and really good job. So everybody, give Becky congratulations and thank you for doing that. It was a great conversation. So kudos, Becky. Where do we head from here?
Today's show topic. What are we talking about today? Yeah,
there we go. We're all off track. So Becky, what are we talking about today?
That's a good question. I am so confused too. No, we are talking about finishing the year strong. So our first question that we're going to put out there for you guys before we get into our gratitude and everything is, what's the one goal you're working towards finishing before the end of 2024?
Love it.
That's what we want you to ponder and start adding to the comments along with gratitude. And Kylene can start us on her gratitude.
Yeah. Can I real quick? Let's just say hi to everybody again. Yeah. We appreciate everybody's patience as we got this rolling. So Chuck was in. Good evening, everyone. Darren, hello. Evening, everyone. We've got Rena checking in, and we've got Stephanie. Hello, gang. So we've got a great crew already assembled. I love that question, Becky. What's one goal you're working on finishing before the end of 2024? So, but I guess one way to do that is through the power of gratitude, right, Kylene?
Yeah, we're going to bring some positive energy to really help us, just attract more goodness so we can reach that goal here. So we're going to start with gratitude, just appreciating the things that we have in our life, the businesses that we have, the sales that we have, the people we have encouraging us, all of those things we have to be grateful for. So Becky, do you want to start with what you're grateful for today?
Oh, I think I managed to manifest that one. So we always say in Masters of Success, when we're put in the hot seat, it's like, oh, not me first.
Because you manifested that by saying not me first, but
Yes,
all the universe heard was me first.
Yes, it was. So I am grateful. I don't know. It's been so busy. I'm just grateful that I've got a few minutes to just, I feel like I quote unquote caught up this week. Today anyways, Aaron had sent me a message the other day and asked if I had seen the light at the end or whatever, if I was seeing the light at the end. And I said, I see a light, but I think it's the train. So I'm just grateful for a little bit of time here today that I was able to catch up on some things and be able to take the second half of the week and get it moving forward again. So
Love it. All right. Well, Chuck says positive energy would be nice. I know Chuck's over there in Florida, so
yes.
Prayers heading your way, and everybody else that's over in that area. Hopefully, I don't know when it's supposed to hit. Does anybody know?
I think it's
Today, tomorrow, I believe. Today,
Tomorrow or tonight. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I've seen a lot of got pictures from friends with windows battened down and people talking about where they're heading. Hopefully, you're getting out of there to a higher place, because I think it's what I read was it was the flooding that people are a little concerned about. So Chuck, lots of positive energy coming your way, and to everybody over there in Florida and on the East Coast over there. So, and then hello to Jerry. Thank you for being here. And we've got Nikki jumping in, and Nikki says, I'm thankful I am busy. So I think that sounds a lot like you, Becky.
a little bit.
Nikki's
Nikki says right now. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Nikki's down there too, right?
Family. Her
Family, that's right.
sister,
Okay.
Parents, and children.
Okay.
All
right. Well,
so
again, lots and lots of prayers for everybody, and positive thoughts. I think, like Chuck said, positive energy would be nice, is needed. So, if everybody could take a moment and just have a quick positive, let's manifest some good stuff for them by having those positive thoughts. All right. So
he just said we just lost power.
All right. Okay. Well, stay safe there, Chuck. We're you know how to. Chuck, I don't know what I would be able to do, but my cell phone number is 636-387-9813. All right. So I'm sure you've got people to call, but why not put an extra number out there just in case somebody needs it. So I don't know how fast I can get to Florida, but we'll figure it out. All right. So let's, what else? Gratitude. We're still heading there. Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to share that I am grateful for the fact that even though we've had some technological challenges, the fact that we can still do this, that we can, be together here, have these conversations. Very grateful for Becky keeping this rolling while we had to be away. So I think the ability to connect, even though we're not in person in this moment, I think is what I'm grateful for. So
that's huge.
What about you?
I am grateful for my cheerleaders. I had my big race on Sunday and I finished.
We didn't bring these, but we should have.
Yeah. Oh well, that's all right. I did my half marathon, and Lewis and Aaron were my big cheerleaders there and got me to the finish line. So Lewis actually ran the last 3 miles with me because I hit a wall and I was struggling pretty good. So
nice.
But
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah. Jerry says, thankful for a great checkup at my cardiologist today. That's awesome, Jerry. That's yes. Awesome. And Rena says, prayers for all that are in Milton's path. Absolutely, Rena. Thank you for that. We've got Barb checking in. Good afternoon, everybody from North Central Minnesota. And Barb says, Chuck, I hope you and your family stay safe. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, we've got some things to talk about here today, but you guys definitely keep bringing that gratitude, bringing that positive energy, bringing those things that we can be grateful for, and even in challenges that we can find those pieces, find those tools. Actually, you just got started on on a book. Did you want to talk about that at all?
Oh, my gratitude book I'm writing with Aaron. Yes, I did actually. It's something in May, we actually did a little contract. We wrote it and we both signed it that it would be done by the end of this year. And I just got started on it. But I have a good start. And now I just need to kind of break out the different sections, and then I might be reaching out to some of you guys for some gratitude stories and how gratitude works in your life. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you guys have anything that we're kind of thinking about and utilizing the power of gratitude and how that's worked in your life, we'd love to include those stories with full, whatever you want us to share about you, whether you want to be anonymous or if you'd like to be part of the book too. We would love to have you guys be a part of that. So yeah, we're looking forward to making that happen. So
what a great goal for the year there, Kylie.
I know it is.
Well, this is the first time she's talked about it, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. My brain can process so much at one time. And, I'm going to be all in on this one. So
awesome.
Yep.
Serena says, congratulations, Kylie. That's amazing. Talking about the half marathon.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, you guys. Well, we've you guys ready? Everybody ready to dig in? I'm going to share Becky's question one more time for us here. What one goal are you working on finishing before the end of 2024? That was kind of a good segue for Kylene there to get us started with something that she is working on specifically, or we are working on. But Kylene's leading that project, so we'll leave that there. But Becky, is there anything that stands out for you that you're working on specifically before now and the end of the year?
I knew that question was going to come up, and I haven't gotten there yet.
Sorry.
So, no. Right now I don't know that I have like the big goal. My big goal for the year is about 89% complete.
Okay.
So as far as that goes, I guess I feel like I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish there. To me, it needs to have a few more months to make sure that it stays consistent and can stay viable, I guess is the right word. But this is where I'm kind of, I think this was geared at me because I don't market and I don't plan quite like I need to for the goals for the year like I should. So this is not only well for me to learn from as well. So
there you go. Well, it'll be a great conversation. And I think that's what I love about this, Becky, is all these things that we talk about. This is and really specifically with Rising Tide Talks, but really in general, I hear that all the time. People are like, "Oh, you were talking to me," right? And I going, "Hey, if it helps you, perfect. Then yes." But the reality is, I was talking to me, right? It's an inside job first, and so I know when we start looking at these things, and this is definitely one of those areas where, okay, how can we utilize this together? How can we finish the year strong, right? You said, market how you should have. Well, if you're achieving your goal, then you're doing exactly what you should have done. Now, could you do a little bit more, or could you do it differently? Could you make it easier on yourself? I think that's where, hopefully that's where we're going tonight, at least in my brain. So does that sound good?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's hit a couple more comments here before we dive in though. Stephanie says, that's so awesome. And then Stephanie says, social media calendar to be completed. Love it. Nikki says, for me, focusing more on my business, my retail side, my wholesale side, being my own best cheerleader, put the effort into myself versus others. Love that. Good job, Nikki. Awesome. So Becky, I guess you mentioned, the topic here is kind of finishing the year strong. So where do you think we should start with this?
Probably the importance of planning, because, if we don't plan, we're not going to get anywhere. And that's kind of where I feel like, I'm getting somewhere. Don't get me wrong there. I am feeling wonderful about my year at the moment. However, I don't plan near like I should.
Good. We're going to
Good. Yes. I knew that was coming too. I just laid it out there for you.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
So let's not should on ourselves and get in trouble for that. But what could we be doing? And planning is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
To move us forward.
Yeah. And I think, the idea here is probably a bit of an emphasis on marketing, because I think that's something that we can, in this short window that we have left, I don't want anybody to be upset with me here, but here's the reality. There's just a smidge more than 10 weeks left in the year. Okay. So just let that sink in for just one moment. Right. And I, again, I think we're all in the same boat. We feel a little bit of anxiety. We feel a little bit of overwhelm. So how can we break that down? Right. And I think you're exactly right, Becky. Let's start with this importance of planning. So I guess I've got a question for folks when it comes to planning, and we'll talk about marketing here. So I'll just ask that. When it comes to planning your marketing for the rest of the year, what's your preference? A more detailed plan or a flexible one? And regardless of what your preference is, if you could give us a little bit about why, because I'd love to discuss that, right? And we're not here to argue or say your way is the right or wrong. We just want to share some things that we've learned along the way, and hopefully have this conversation and hopefully learn from you guys too. So anything to add there, Kylie?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can just say my personal preference. I know I need a detailed plan. I've tried the flexible for me, and I give myself too much leeway, and therefore I push off my due dates and things like that. So that's my personal opinion. I let the chaos kind of start to create and build, and then unfortunately sometimes I don't achieve all my goals. And right now, with the busy season coming, it's really important to have that plan in place for me.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yep. Becky, any thoughts on that?
Well, I probably should have a detailed plan. I would say mine is way more flexible, as again, based on how my business runs right now, I don't do the marketing like I should. That's something we've been talking about since April.
I didn't want to interrupt.
We're going to get that word out of your vocabulary.
However, this is something we've been talking about since April. So I also believe that I'm right on the edge of the next step for me. And that's where it'll make a difference on my planning and my marketing. So.
Awesome. Yep. Oh, love it. Love it. Love these ideas. Rena says, I need to redefine or completely reimagine my why before 2025. Rena, to reach out. Actually, I've started doing what I'm calling the SVP assessments, and it's been really cool. I've had the opportunity to do it with a couple of people locally here, and I want to do this with folks to help them. So SVP stands for strengths, values, and passions. And what we do is we take a look at that. I'm just there to kind of guide you and talk through. I'm a problem solver. So I ask a lot of questions like, okay, great, but why? Right. And well, that's interesting. Tell me more, and those types of things. And so, we can get into that for sure. That's something I love to do. So reach out to me, or I think I've sent you the link, but it's osg.link/thank you if anybody wants to check that out. All right. I'm way off base. Shocking. I know you guys are nobody shocked here. But I think, both of you guys indicated, and I'm the same way, right? Like today I was very loose with what my plan was, and 5:30, and I've not accomplished anything that I wanted to accomplish yet, because I did this, and then that led to this, and that led to this, and the chaos ensued. Right. And so, when we have a plan, and I think, the question about whether you love a more detailed plan or a flexible one, I don't think it's necessarily this is better than that. It's more along the lines of what is going to help you stay focused. Again, going back to the notion that there's a little more than 10 weeks left in the year. And if you're at your goal, great. How can you do more? If you're not at your goal, great. How can you accomplish that in 10 weeks? I know the reality is you can't accomplish it in 10 weeks. Right? I know it would have been great if you had 52 weeks, but the reality is you've got 10 weeks to get to this date, right? And if you make it, great. If you don't, are you further along than before? So, understanding those things. But I think the only way to really, truly achieve what you want to do in the shorter time frame is to have some sort of a plan, whether that's a more detailed, whether it's more flexible, but you got to have, I don't know, a North Star. You've got to have like, how do I not get myself off track? Right. So what do you make of that, Becky?
Well, that's where the planner comes in for me. And as you were saying that your, schedule for today was kind of loose and not very together, I felt the same way as I realized I hadn't filled out my planner for the last 2 weeks. So I was writing stuff on my list that I did already do instead of making my list of what needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, for me, it is making sure I have that list and starting to set that time aside the night before so that my day is scheduled the next day. If I schedule out my day, my time, my week, it does make a huge difference on making sure that I accomplish those things that I set out to have done by the deadlines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say how powerful that is, because our goals are important to us. And so by making them a priority and when we schedule them and having that plan, it just reminds you, okay, this is something that I wanted to do for my business or whatever reason it is behind your goal. It just makes it a priority in your life by scheduling it and having it in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the other part to understand here is when we are more intentional, right? And this is one of my many favorite sayings, but this one, it definitely falls up there with the rising tide lifts all boats, but the slow down to speed up, right? And understanding that part of it, right? Where when we're more intentional, then we can better use the resources we have available to us. And that can be in a lot of things, right? The amount of time. We've only got 24 hours in a day, right? And I know a lot of us have probably given up sleeping in certain scenarios, right? Or given up on, made other sacrifices to family time, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, we've only got so much money. I just got back from Indianapolis, did a seminar with about 40 people in the room. I asked that room full of people, does anybody here have unlimited money? I still haven't found anybody that has unlimited money yet. So the reality is we've got limited resources, money, energy, right? Like you get to the end of the day, I had good intentions, but boy, that couch looks good. That kind of thing. So I think for me, it's pretty clear that planning is really important for us.
I think the other thing that planning helps with is taking that decision-making load out of your brain. Mm-hmm. When I have a schedule or when I have things laid out for what I need to do, it means I don't have to make those decisions. It's, all of a sudden it's not like, do I do this or do I do that? No, I already have scheduled that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So there's no decision-making process. We make so many decisions throughout the day that having already made those decisions ahead of time for yourself, like you said, that time and those resources, you get that part back because you don't have to decide that.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah. We actually talked about that the other morning in Masters of Success, mm-hmm. that the fact that the willpower that it takes to do something, go to the gym, do your social media posts, et cetera, most of the willpower is actually used up in the decision to do it. So if you just decide, okay, every day I'm going to the gym, or every Monday I'm going to the gym, or once a month I'm going to have my plan for the next month's marketing, right? Like just making that decision without figuring out the hows will give you a ton of willpower to make that happen. I think that's exactly what you're saying there, Becky.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Jerry's got a comment here for us. I think it's a really good transition to the next point we wanted to talk about. And he says, make sure I have enough shipping supplies for a busy fourth quarter. Last year I had some issues, but not this year. Right. And because the question I had for folks is, what is a lesson you've learned from past holiday seasons that, you're planning to apply this year? So Jerry must have been reading ahead in the notes, but I love that. But if I can make this quick, in fact, I'll put Jerry's comment back up there. You got to find balance, right? So making sure you have enough shipping supplies for a busy fourth quarter, right? Last year I had issues, but this year, no. what I've seen though is people go, well, last year I had, and I'm not using Jerry's example here. I'm just saying I've seen this in other places. Last year I ran out of blankets, and now we've got enough blankets in stock to last us for 8 years. Right. Like, so you have to, what do you learn? But also, right. Like, okay, what are the backups? Because, in Jerry's case here, yeah, he's got some things in place that he's not going to have those issues this year. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got so many shipping supplies that you can't use them all, right? We've got a lot of ornaments sitting back there, right? So, looking at things like that. Any other thoughts there?
I mean, I was just thinking, like, for us in our busy season, we had other suppliers lined up who we could get just going with packing supplies and things like that. Like, just knowing and having that connection already established before you get into that busy time.
Yeah.
And that's part of the planning.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think the other part of this is also then really understanding your ideal customers, right? And because the needs might shift. And if you're just trying to do business with anybody that has money in their wallet, how are you going to be able to identify when those people's needs shift, right? Like, again, how do you end up with 8 years worth of blankets in inventory, right? But wait, my customers aren't ordering those anymore. Uh-oh. Right. Like, and these are just hypothetical things that are happening in my brain here. But so I think it is really crucial to understand who our ideal customers are. So Becky, as you've built things up this year, I mean, from all sounds of it, things are going swimmingly for you, so to speak. and that's awesome. Right. But I think, from what I've seen from the outside looking in, you've really identified who your ideal customers are and what their needs are. And therefore they're connected with you a little bit more than before. Again, just my opinion from outside looking in. So how has that helped you kind of keep up with things?
Well, and I think having identified that ideal client, that means I'm attracting those ideal clients. I've had a few in the last couple of months that I've taken on that I know I've drugged my feet on. And so then I don't, please, I'm on podcast, so you have to leave. No. Anyways, so sorry. I tried to lock doors, and for whatever reason, that door wouldn't lock. And
All good.
Whatever. So having identified that ideal client, I know that's who I'm attracting. And then those ones that I've decided to take on, they're the ones that I drag my feet on a little bit. And so I know those aren't exactly what I want to be doing. And I started to identify that for myself and have learned to say no or direct them to a different avenue or give them to somebody else that I know can take care of them, not so much better than me, but just essentially better than me because I'm not going to at that point with them not being my ideal client. So it is a lot of fun to work with the ideal clients. I mean, it is fun to do those ones. So, and that's what I look for.
Yeah. And I think you've also given yourself the space to work with more of those ideal clients. And so that's brought the business in, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you were not always working with the ideal clients, those would bog you down. Yep. And so your ideal clients would come and go, oh, well, she doesn't really have space for me right now, right? She's overwhelmed already. I'm not going to put more on her. And again, I'm just looking from the outside in. I'm not actually saying this is true. So Becky, you can correct me, but
no, that is absolutely true because then it's hard to move to those ideal clients when you're still looking at your list going, oh, I still have all these to take care of, where once I identified that ideal client, then I knew it's easier to schedule and work those into your production schedule for me anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so powerful and empowering once you have that ideal client figured out. It does make some of those decision-making things that you have to do in those busy times so much easier. And like you said, saying no is really, really powerful and you're finding more success as a result of it. So that's huge.
Yeah. All right, I keep putting the microphone in Kylie's mouth because she keeps leaning back. So
I feel like it's so close, but I know you guys can't hear me if
that's
I
right.
do it.
Yeah, if you don't.
I was a little
All right.
quiet there for a little bit. So.
Yeah. So, okay. If there's anything else that you guys have, what lessons have you learned from past holiday seasons that you're going to apply this year that maybe the rest of us could potentially use? I think the last point before we kind of hit our break here is, and we touched on a little bit already, so I don't know if we need a ton of discussion here, but it's this idea of slowing down to speed up. And honestly, what came up for me when I was thinking about this was, if I could slow down, right, back up, like, could I automate something? Could I, do something, create a better process, for example, that, what would that be, right? What could I do more of with less effort? Right. So I guess that'd be my question for the viewers here is, what's one thing you wish you could automate, change, update in your processes, whatever that is for you in your business right now? So I don't know if anything stands out for you, Kylie.
The social media post for sure is something that I can schedule ahead of time, and then I don't have to think about it, and I can just engage. For me, that's definitely something I can be doing.
Okay.
Yep.
And how would slowing down to speed up kind of encourage that?
Well, I would take the time, and when you're focused on one task, right, you can really get into it and you can get a lot done, even if it's just an hour chunk of time that I have.
Yep.
And then I don't have, like Becky was saying earlier, you don't have that decision making. What do I post today? What am I doing? That decision making is gone. And so it's just there, and I get to be me and get to know my customers.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Becky, anything stands out there for you?
No, I agree with that. I mean, doing those tasks in a batch is what makes, get that done in a batch and have that time back. So you're not spending all of that time every day working on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. And I think ultimately, when you're thinking about that, right, like, I do think when we get to that point where we don't really know what to do, or, we don't have a plan, so we are just winging it, kind of tying back to where I started. I'm like, yeah. So I just got to the desk and dove right in and was winging it. And, what that created was, I got to work harder. I got to hustle more. I got to do more. And that was actually the opposite of productive for me. And so what I could have done, okay, I caught myself. What I could have done is, said, okay, great. Okay, I'm going to put that on my list and see where it falls into the bigger picture here. And kind of went back, planned the day, had a little bit more time to kind of meditate, prayer, that kind of thing. And so I think just kind of taking that time to make sure that I was in alignment with what I was trying to do, as opposed to just hustling harder.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts there?
No, I mean, I think it's huge once we refocus and, getting clear on why we're doing what we're doing instead of just going to the next task. And therefore you don't have the enjoyment when you're just going to the next thing. Mm-hmm. You don't know why you're doing it. And when you come back to that why, that reason, it's really powerful to bring more joy into your life, into your business.
Yep. Okay. Well, Becky, anything else? Okay. Well, let's take a quick break here. While we're taking this break, though, if you guys are tuned in live, or if you're watching the recorded version, put it in the comments as well, because I always try to get back and make sure that we engage and comment. So if I haven't replied to one of your comments, please let me know, because I think I have caught up with all of that. But I'm curious, what is biggest might not be the right. What's a challenge that you're facing when it comes to achieving your end of the year goals? What is that? So I think if we can all share that, it will help us better pinpoint, all of us. We're not saying, hey, we're here to help you out. We're certainly happy to do that. But I think when we share these types of things, the rest of us can see it. It can help us kind of pinpoint a little bit better. Because once we pinpoint what the challenge is, the Einstein thing, where if he knew what the question to ask was, he could solve the problem like that. And so when we pinpoint what the challenge is, it's a lot easier to solve. So what is the biggest challenge or a challenge that you are facing when it comes to achieving your end of the year goal? That sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a quick break here. We do have a program coming up next week that I'm really excited about. I've been kind of shouting it out loud. So if you guys are tired of hearing it already, I apologize, but just go sign up and then you won't have to hear about it anymore. So here we go.
What if you had a clear marketing roadmap for the next 8 weeks instead of scrambling last minute trying to gain new business while keeping everything else going? Too often, businesses react late and miss key opportunities. Some do not even get in front of potential customers, and then wonder why business is slow. It doesn't need to be that way, and it doesn't need to take weeks of planning or learning new marketing tricks. The Marketing Roadmap webinar will help you build a proactive plan to finish 2024 strong. In just 2 short guided sessions, you will have tools for a clear plan to keep your business moving forward even during the busy fourth quarter. Register today at osg.link/MKT to finish 2024 with clarity, confidence, and the tools for a real plan. It's time to stop reacting and start taking control of your business. We are excited for you to join us on October 17th and 18th. Register for these free sessions at osg.link/MKT.
All right. So go check that out. Go get registered. And they are recorded. And there will be a template that you'll have access to just by registering. And it's completely free. And so after we do those 2 sessions on Thursday and Friday, for anybody that does want to go and put their plan together, we do have a paid workshop that's available to you. But you'll have all the tools you need. You're just going to have to do it not on your own per se, but you're going to have to be the one that says, okay, I'm going to schedule time to do this. If you come and join us on Saturday, you get to not only have that time scheduled for you, but you get to engage in some activities that'll help make it quicker, faster, and together with support from myself and the other folks that are part of that workshop. So
What are the dates of that?
October 17th and 18th, and it's at noon both days. And both those sessions are going to be about 45 minutes to an hour. And then on Saturday, the 19th, and these are Central Time, by the way, for everybody. Central Time from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Time on Saturday will be that workshop.
So I just said something. I looked at it. I saw 1. I mean, I would have got my reminders and stuff.
Yeah. 1 Eastern Time. So
yeah, that was the first one that was listed. So that's what I went with.
Awesome. All right. So definitely check that out, you guys. I appreciate you guys getting over there and registering if that's something that's of interest to you. Again, even if you can't make it, register, because you will get a copy of the template, the roadmap template. And then, like I said, if you are able to make it with us on Saturday, then we will work. And I can't guarantee that you're going to have it completely done, but I feel like most people will have it completely done. And I will make sure that I'm there to support you to get it completely done before it's time to really dive into the final 8 weeks here. Okay.
That's awesome.
Looking
Love
forward
it.
to it, but I know I can't be there on Saturday. So
I know it. I know. I was bummed when you said that, but got to do it. So, okay. Well, let's get into and actually, in a lot of ways, Becky, that's a really good segue for this in my brain, because, you can't be there on Saturday. And totally get it. Now it becomes your responsibility to implement it, right? It's your it's everybody's responsibility anyways, but you're going to kind of be a little bit more on your own. So you're going to have to now that doesn't mean that you can't reach out to some people, maybe the masters of success, hint, and then you, right. So point being, we do have to implement the things that we're learning. We do have to implement the things that we're hearing, listening to, actions required, right? I mean, I wish that wasn't the case in a lot of times, right? Why can't we just sit here and, by osmosis, but, so I guess, Becky, ask people a question so we can kind of get this thing moving forward here. Anyone you want there.
any one of the questions I see in my screen?
Yeah, they stand out to you.
Okay. Well, I was looking at it trying to think of the answers, so I'm glad I get to ask the question and not have to answer it. So the first one I saw was, what's one key action or marketing strategy that you're going to plan to implement before the end of the year to finish strong?
Okay.
That's huge.
Do you want to answer that?
Well, I know it's sharing what I do with people.
Making it not super secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kylie and I have a very good relationship as far as I'm concerned. I think you're in the same boat. She's standing here and I haven't been hit yet. So that's a good sign. But we do tease each other a little bit. Probably I tease a little bit more than she does. But I've always kind of given Kylie a little bit of a poke with the fact that sometimes her business can be super secret. Right. So when you think about implementing this action, making it more known, what is that like? If you just close your eyes and make it happen and visualize it, you're not actually doing it, you're just visualizing it happen, what would be happening?
I'd be interacting with people more and getting to know them and how I can best support them or just build those relationships.
Okay.
Because
can we take it a little bit deeper though?
Of course.
Okay. So if you're interacting with people more, like, give me specifics about that. How are you interacting with them?
Whether it's one-on-one calls or it's just engaging conversation on social media or through Messenger, just something meaningful.
Okay.
I think that's my love-hate relationship with social media at times is I haven't been planning it, and therefore when I do engage, sometimes it doesn't feel meaningful, and then I'm like, well, why am I doing this then, right? Because I have to have that meaning behind it.
Yeah.
To keep going.
Yeah. And Becky, jump in here wherever you feel like. But what I'm thinking about as Kylie's talking here is we really need to understand, because the idea is to have that vision and then clearly pinpoint what it is that you're going to do. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard to clearly pinpoint what it is you're going to do when you're trying to talk to everybody. Mm-hmm. Right. So, it could be engaging posts. It could be Messenger. It could be this. It could be that. Right. Like, absolutely all that's true. But how does your ideal customer want to interact with you, and how would you like to interact with them? And so I think really you talked about this earlier. We talked about it earlier as a group. Understanding who our ideal customer is essential, right? And not just understanding who they are, but what they need, or if you want to go even deeper, what they desire. I just got to do that seminar that I mentioned in Indiana, and it was called How to Maximize Pricing, or How to Price for Profit, basically, is what, I can't remember the exact title anymore. How to Master Pricing for Profit, I think is what it was. And obviously we talked about the pricing stuff, but the real mastery came in how do you talk to your customers? How do you change your perceived value? And I think a lot of times we don't think about that, right? We go to the trade shows that I was at, and I look at all the cool equipment, and I can do 16 colors on my screen printing press, or I can have this many heads of embroidery. And your customers go, "Oh, that's really cool. I don't care," right? Like, I don't care. That's what they're saying inside is, that's really cool for you, Becky, or whoever, right? But my desire is to be able to show pride in my community, or to be able to raise funds for what's important to me, right? Like, that's what their needs and desires are. And so that's the level of getting to know your ideal customer, I think, is really crucial. So, like I said, Becky, anything that flows from that, go for it.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, after being at the trade show, I mean, all the bells and whistles and and all that looks so pretty there. And all I really want to do is have a machine that works. I want to find the company and work with the company that stands behind their machine, that fixes my machine, that, will bend over backwards to make sure that my stuff is taken care of and that I can continue to put out a good product, because that's what's most important to me. Yeah. I want a product that my customers are going to be happy with, proud to wear, proud to have, and it's going to last for them. So I'm going to be looking and searching for the companies that, whether they have all the bells and whistles or not, I prefer less, because I have less things to go wrong. Yeah. and be able to have a product that I can rely on.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Yeah. And I actually just wrote a blog. It actually posted yesterday about why customers choose one company over another. And it actually came out of the conversation that I had there in Indianapolis at that seminar. And so I'm going to post it. I don't know if you guys even know that we have a blog, but you go to our success group. It's super secret, I think sometimes, for sure. But so I posted on LinkedIn, and then it's also available on our blog there at oursuccessgroup.com. But the idea is, if you don't truly understand who your ideal customers are, you may think they want something, but they think differently. And then we go, well, why, oh man, I thought that customer was perfect for me. Why did they choose to do business with somebody else? And the reality is they probably were perfect for you. They just saw that you were saying, oh, you need this, right? Like the example that I gave in the seminar was somebody that I used to work with that would go and, okay, here is the catalog, right? Here's all of the products that I can buy for you, right? So choose, here's the Cheesecake Factory menu, basically. and their customers would go, oh, this is awesome. And then they go, that's too much. I don't have time for this. And so when they finally had the encouragement, I encouraged them to actually figure out specifically what their customers wanted. They realized that their customers wanted simplicity, they were coming to them for their expertise when it comes to that big catalog. And so they changed their strategy to go, okay, here's a good, better, and best option for you. And that just that little change right there changed everything for them. But it required them having those conversations, understanding their ideal customer. So it's actually a consulting tool that I'm using right now. I'm actually going to be working with a local company here, and I'm going to interview their customers for them. And we're going to find out that information. So I think it's really crucial. But anything that I missed there, Becky, Kylene?
I mean, you're spot on. I mean, it's so important to know who that customer is, and so you can actually have that genuine conversation with them, so they're not in decision fatigue, or they don't go somewhere else because it's easier. We've made it too complicated because we're not clear about our message. So, yeah, that's huge.
Okay, Becky, anything else?
Nope. I agree.
Okay. All right.
So,
all right. So the next point that I thought we would hit here, and Becky, I want to be really clear. I did not write this with you in mind. Okay. So I promise, I really did write this with me in mind, right? Because I have these thoughts, right? Like, oh, I don't have time to map out a plan, right? I gotta get going. I'm a doer, right? The reality is, if that's what you're saying in your head, or maybe you've said, well, I don't have time to map out a strategy, a plan, whatever that is, right? The clarity is actually the crucial part of it. Because when we don't have that, we end up wasting more time, energy, and money with the whole going with the flow idea, right? So I think I want to chat with you guys about quickly just, how do we get the guesswork or the reactive decisions out of our day-to-day?
I think for me, it's the fact that it seems so overwhelming. I've made it so large in my head that I don't even get started.
Gotcha.
And I haven't gotten past that yet. So okay. I know that's one of my blocks with it is, it's like I want somebody to do it for me so I can at least see how to do it. And yet somebody else doing it isn't right either, because I've seen other people's marketing plans. I've seen other strategies and stuff that way. And yet I'm like, well, that doesn't work for me. That's not how I do my business. Well, why do I want them to do it if it's not, not going to work that way? But again, I've built it up so large in my head that every time I think I'm going to sit down and do it, I can't get past that part.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, I'm just going to share, because the other thing, like, I love that you mentioned the whole concept of, oh, I'll just have somebody do it for me. I mean, I use ChatGPT a ton, and ChatGPT can give you a lot of good stuff. But the reality is, even that is not going to be what you need. Like you said, Becky, it's got to be unique to you. It's got to be your voice. It's got to be specific. So I think I understand, making it a bigger thing than it is. Honestly, what we're going to do next week, right? I've got the 45 minutes times 2 minutes, let's say an hour, because people know I'm going to go a little bit long. That's just who I am. All right. It's so that's 2 hours on Thursday and Friday, and then 3 hours on Saturday. So 5 total hours. And to be honest with you, that could probably be shorter, but we've got to introduce the information, right? We've got to share with you some kind of uncommon mindsets, some ways of thinking differently about this. And then, you know, the 3 hours is we're going to have a group of people. So we need to have some conversations. But if you can give yourself an hour, 2 hours to just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to have a calendar in front of me. What are the dates that are coming up, right? In this case, we're going to look 8 weeks out, and then just kind of fill in, you know, just little bits at a time, right? Like, who's my ideal customer? How do they want me to reach out? Right? Like, for our success group, our ideal customers, I don't believe are on TikTok a lot, right? Yeah, sure, there's some, but I'm not going to connect with them on TikTok, right? I'm going to connect with them probably through Facebook, probably through LinkedIn, and honestly, probably even deeper in Zoom calls and having these, you know, I've avoided it. I've pushed away from it. And both Becky and Kylene have like pounded me with this in a very good and gentle way that I need to have these one-on-one conversations with folks. So again, so for me, it's like, okay, 8 weeks out, how can I have more of those conversations? How can I connect with more people? How can I share more of the uncommon mindset? Right. So Becky, just again, I'm putting you on the spot here, but what might that look like for you?
Well, and as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking I need to really go pull my QuickBooks invoices and do a really good review of the last 2 years. You know, because I keep thinking, okay, I was busy in January. I don't feel like I've had a downtime in January where it seems like everybody else is like, oh, it's so slow. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I'm not, but what am I doing? You know, so which customers was I working with at that time? What am I doing? I need to have a little bit of a chart to say, here's what's happening in January. Here's what's happening in February. And I can tell you based on my web stores, I looked at charts for that this last week. I had an April that was like really at the bottom of the chart. And my husband goes, what happened in April? And I go, I think we were supposed to have baseball stuff out in April and it didn't hit till like end of May. So that is one thing that I know coming this next year, that at the end of February, we'll be starting all of the baseball stuff in April. I mean, it was one of those things that just that little bit of look made a difference. But my thing is now to go back to all my invoices within QuickBooks and start just doing a little bit of a deep dive and a review, which is not something I've ever done. So it'll be something I will be doing to see what my 2025 should look like.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, you really, in that short amount of time, you know, you said, you know, you kind of make a big deal out of it. How long was that? I don't know. You spoke for 30 seconds, 45 seconds. You did it, right? Like, yeah, you want to go in and fill in a little bit more and have like, but that's it. That's the start of it. That's everything right there. Looking ahead, like you said, go back. Why was April low? Oh, well, why? Great. Now next year I can fix that. I can put the baseball stuff out in February. Right? And so that's all this is. But if we need to do it in a strategic way, asking the right questions for it to really be valuable for us. So anything else there? Okay.
I was just reading Darren's comment about the website, and that's how he felt. I mean, I just recently had my website updated a little bit with Aaron's help, and man, it took me so long just to do it and give him the information he needed. And I made it such a big deal. I mean, I just built it up in my head that I couldn't get started. And so that's why this is so powerful, to have it broken down and ask the right questions and have the data to go by so you can move forward.
And Darren, I think we talked you mentioned last week that we'd like to try to connect, and I'd still like to try to connect because I have a couple questions as far as, you know, what are you trying to achieve from that website? You know, is there a better solution? Is there a less complicated solution for you based on what I've done? I mean, and obviously it'll have to work for Darren, but you know, is there a different solution than having to worry about a website? And that's what I've been finding for myself. I don't need a I don't know what the word is. I can't come up with it now. I don't need my website to be able to make sales. I need my website as a point of contact for people to go to. But with setting up my web stores with my company there, it's been so much more freeing. I'm not worrying about adding all these products to my website. It just doesn't happen. I've now set up my own web store for things that I want to put out, but that's been less complicated for me. I know how to do that. Me trying to add products to sell on my website was so cumbersome for me. It didn't matter which website I tried to do. It was not working. And there's a reason for it. It wasn't how I needed to sell my stuff.
Yeah.
So,
That's
if
perfect.
Darren, if you want to reach out sometime, let me know. I'd be glad to talk to you about it and see what we can help make work for you.
Love that. Love that. All right. Well, we're getting towards the end here of our time. I guess, and Becky, you actually led us right into this, and so I think we can be quick about this. But here's the really big news and great news. I say about, okay, if I'm looking out 8 weeks, right, that just it starts the momentum of, okay, what about January? What about February? Right? I can get all the details in that 8 weeks, but my brain's already thinking ahead now because we've put ourselves to that task of planning for the future. Right? Our brain's not just going to stop at that 8 weeks point because we said it. It's going to, ideas are going to start popping up. Like you said, Becky, you're going to look at information and it may tell you something about the next 8 weeks, but it could tell you something about April. Right. So, in fact, you had mentioned this and that this was something that you're going to implement a little bit more in your business. But I'm curious for those that are tuned in right now or those that are watching on the replay, how do you or do you schedule time to review your progress? Right? What are things that you found helpful when you reflect on them? Becky, you just said, looking at your web store information was a useful tool for you, right? So are there other things that have helped folks out there? I'm really curious about that. Kylene, anything that stands out for you?
Well, we do our monthly review, which is huge. And then we also have a yearly review that we do just to kind of reflect back. Because sometimes even doing a weekly review is really powerful because life happens real fast. And especially in going into busy season, it's really important to celebrate and write down the things that you've accomplished. So, or what happened in a way, something you learned so you can carry that on. Otherwise, our brain might just dump that information and then next year we repeat the same thing.
And I think for me, that has been a huge thing this year is learning to stop and celebrate. So 2 weeks ago that I did look at that information and I had called my husband because I was so excited because I had the second highest week that I had in sales since I did my stuff. And talking about it, it was like, but he came back to me and he's like, Becky, you need to take a moment to feel that and to, remember like where you've been and where you are now and how, a year ago you were wishing you were at this point and have you, he's telling me this and I'm like crap, he's been listening. So,
Awesome.
I mean, it's been phenomenal to do that for me to take that little bit of time to just, I think after I got off the phone with him that day, I just sat back in my chair and just went, wow, just taking that time to do that has made a huge difference.
Yeah. And I think that's incredible and amazing. Honestly, that's the whole purpose of our success group is how can we help people see that and feel that kind of thing? Because it's one thing to go, yeah, I'm celebrating. Cool. I did that. Good job. And that's what I used to always do was kind of just passing. Like, okay, that was good. Kylene's telling me that's a good job. And I was, picking out all the problems. And I still do that to a certain extent. But when you accomplish something, when you can, like you say, Becky, just kind of sit in that for a second, sit in that feeling, what happens is your subconscious starts figuring out ways to have more of that. You're getting that dopamine hit in that space. And so you, without even knowing it, you're building up to, Becky, you've been building up to where you're at now. And I have no doubt you're going to accomplish your goal because of that fact. right? Like, yes, you've done all the work and stuff like that, but the key is definitely that fact right there, that you gave yourself that ability to celebrate and take in the feeling of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Darren says, I will get a hold of you soon. And he says, I'm trying to get through a command class for the department. Yep. The day job, I tell you, it gets into me. All right. Well, I think we covered a lot, looking ahead and whatnot. So anything else that we missed there, Becky?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Go register, because those 2 days worth of classes, even if you can't make the Zoom class, I think are going to be huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I'm super excited just to really get into it and give people those tools. And again, you're going to have everything that you need to be able to create this 8-week roadmap for yourself. So if you can't make the thing on Saturday, if you can't, if it's not in the budget right now, there is a little bit of an investment that goes along with that on Saturday. Totally understand. You will be able to do it. I just think if you really want to turbocharge it, I would say try to make that Saturday an available opportunity for you, right? And if not, no problem. You're just going to have to do that a little bit on your own and have that ability. And so I'm not picking on Becky here, but see, Becky is somebody I know is going to make it happen. So I can.
I also know that I know how to contact Aaron. I use it a lot.
Yeah. It's like I'm hard to get a hold of, but it's really not true, folks. You guys can really reach out to me anytime. I don't understand it some days, but hey. All right. Well, let's see here. Yeah, you want to get Sandy's comment there real quick?
Yes, I do. I want this. A lot of times, Sandy says, a lot of times I'm so busy and stuck in the week that I forget to stop and look at all the things I've accomplished. And Sandy should definitely be taking time to look at all the things she's accomplished. She has been a traveling fool and killing it with her events. So I'm super proud of Sandy, and she's doing amazing things.
Yeah,
she is.
So we got to get the appropriate pom-poms going here. Yeah. So just to let Sandy know, I have never told her this before, but it's been in my head, but I haven't said it. So I'm just going to say it right now. When Sandy is at that point where she is ready to leave the day job, because I know that's a goal for her, we will set off. In fact, I will probably set off the glow in the dark confetti cannon. Okay, so just throwing that out there. Love it. All right, well, should we wrap this up, Kylene?
Yep. Great conversation today. Thank you, everyone who participated. We grow together, we learn together, and just remember the journey of entrepreneurship is not a solo journey. We're all in this together. Join us over at the Facebook group, osg.link/group. Continue this conversation there. Spark a new conversation there. It's all full. That group's full of like-minded people, and we can all learn and grow together.
Yep. Yeah. I think if the more we get engaged over there, you guys, I know it some days feels like one more thing, but this is the slow down to speed up. It's the opportunity to think about stuff like this. It's the opportunity to have conversations. Okay, maybe the comment or thing that you post over there is, hey, Becky, that was awesome what you shared today on Rising Tide Talks. Tell me more, right? Or, okay, I didn't understand this part, Aaron, right? You talk too much. So whatever that is, like Becky said, she knows how to get a hold of me. You guys should too. So the group is always a great place to start.
And honestly, you can contact any one of us up here. We're more than happy to help in any way. So
Yep. Thank you for being here, Chuck. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Chuck. Stay safe.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, I just want to remind everybody, though, to take consistent action. The productive action is what I meant to say, not productivity. Productive action is all about consistency, right? Whether every day it's doing a little bit to, tend your mindset, have that positive conversation with yourself, clarifying what your reason is. Rena, what you had said earlier, time to really kind of regroup on that. That's perfect. That's awesome. So just doing those things, setting clear goals. We talk a lot about goals today. Action beats inaction every time. So just, again, keep that conversation rolling over there at osg.link/group.
Absolutely agree. And, we've talked about the group. So the power in that community is strong. And I think, all of us in it together, sharing our experiences, learning from each other, we can really all rise higher having those conversations. So please don't hesitate to engage and, answer, ask the questions and answer. If you see a question out there that somebody has, please feel free to answer. Put in what your knowledge is and your experiences, because we can all learn together that way and build that supportive network. So remember, a rising tide lifts all boats. And next week, we're ahead of the game. Next week, we are going to be discussing the fear of growth. I think that's not something that we think about very often, but I think it hits a lot of us. So
yes.
So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Rising Tide Talks.
Have a fantastic week, everybody. Take care.
Bye.